An elderly woman believed she had taken in a puppy, but some months later, she witnesses something that is really terrible. Old widow Milagros resided in a modest hut next to the forest. She had been widowed more than 3 years prior. She had a son, but he was away for business. He hardly ever went to see his mother, who only had Tiger with her. Milagros began to sense her isolation. She developed the routine of taking a trip in the forest to get some fruit every afternoon. She would always be accompanied by her elderly cat, who recently began to fatigue more quickly than the elderly woman. Milagros gathered her wicker basket and headed into the forest one of those afternoons. She stopped at the blueberry tree to gather some for dinner, but then she heard strange noises and groans. A little cub was whining behind some trees because a trap had damaged one of his paws, so she went to investigate what it was. When the baby animal's strength was gone, Milagros sprang to its aid. She took him home with her and gave him the attention he needed. She gave the puppy water and instantly fixed his paw. The elderly woman believed that she would return the animal to the forest as soon as he was feeling well. The small puppy, whom Milagros named Max, eventually won Milagros' affection as the days passed. The puppy showed the elderly woman a lot of love. He licked her hands and wagged his tail whenever he saw her. Milagros believed that Max entered her life to provide her happiness and inspiration. She reasoned that if she abandoned him in the wilderness, he would definitely cause trouble and that no one would be around to look after him. Now Tiger, an old buddy of Milagros, and Max, a new puppy, were with her. She would watch her animals frolic outside the hut every evening while she thought about the setting sun. Max and she used to converse as if he were a human, yet there was something odd about the animal that piqued her interest. Max ate more than normal and usually had a big appetite. She immediately made touch with Joaquin. The following morning, Milagros welcomed the neighborhood vet Joaquin to her cabin and explained how she had discovered her puppy and how ravenously hungry he was. She was asked to permit the man to get a better look at the animal. He examined his ears, muzzle, and paws. He also took his height and weight before declaring, "Mrs. Milagros, this is not a dog. It's a wolf from Siberia." Joaquin, the elderly woman, could not believe she had been rearing a wolf for 6 months. She was so shocked. Furthermore, it was a wild animal. Despite its seeming docility, the doctor advised them to return the animal to the forest and leave him there. This gave him enough time to care for himself, and he could also reach his herd, which was probably nearby. Millis thanked Joaquin and bid him farewell, but she genuinely doubted that she wanted to part ways with Max. In addition to being her partner, she had already developed a strong attachment to him. But she made the correct decision. The woman picked up the young wolf the following morning and carried him back to the spot where she had discovered him. She knelt down and cuddled her small companion, who did nothing but lick her face and wag his tail ferociously. Milagros was sobbing uncontrollably, but knew she was acting morally. Max watched the elderly woman walk away from him. The doubt and pain on his face as he saw the woman who had taken such good care of him for so many months leave were evident. And out of instinct, he started to enter the woodland. When Milagros got to her tiny cottage, she would feel even more alone. She was aware that her state must be similar to this morning's. Days passed as the elderly woman continued to ponder about Max. One night, she attempted to distract herself by crocheting several scarves for the winter and shared them with her old friend Tiger. When she opened her door, she heard a knock, but it was a couple of burglars who shoved her aside and forced their way inside the cabin to steal some belongings. But just as they turned to go, they heard a huge roar. The maximum the terrified guys fired at the beast, but it displayed incredible strength and attacked at one of them, seriously wounding his hand. Without turning around, the two men fled in terror. Max walked up to the elderly woman, licked her face, and then fled into the forest. The following morning, Milagros reported what had occurred and walked into the jungle to see how Max was doing. In death he lay. The wolf licked Milagros's hands while gazing at her and then closed his eyes. The elderly lady started sobbing and praised her close friend for sparing her life just that. Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe. See you next time.